Hi dear, welcome to your favorite audiobook channel Wisdom Flicks. Persuasion Mastery, how to get anything you want from anyone. Why you read this book? You read this book because you want to unlock the true power of influence, to confidently connect, communicate, and persuade in any situation. Whether in business, relationships, or everyday life, mastering persuasion gives you the tools to get what you want ethically and effectively. This book guides you step by step to become a trusted, impactful communicator who inspires action and builds lasting connections. If you're ready to transform your conversations and your results, this is the book for you. Introduction. Why persuasion is the ultimate superpower. What if you could walk into a room and get people to listen? What if your words could shift opinions, open doors, and make things happen without force, lies, or manipulation? That's the power of persuasion. Persuasion is the ability to guide someone's thoughts, actions, or decisions in a way that feels natural to them. It's not about pressure. It's not about trickery. It's about understanding how people think, what they value, and how to speak to those values clearly and confidently. At its core, persuasion is the most important life skill no one formally teaches you. In every moment of your life, you're either influencing or being influenced. Whether you're in a business meeting, a sales call, a negotiation, a relationship discussion, or even a casual conversation with a friend, you are either directing the conversation or being directed by it. Those who master the art of persuasion don't just speak more persuasively, they live more powerfully. They close deals, gain trust, earn promotions, resolve conflict, and build movements. They get things done without needing to shout, beg, or demand. Think of the leaders you admire, the people who inspire crowds, the entrepreneurs who build companies from scratch, the teachers who capture attention, the friends who can calm tension in a room. They all share one thing: the ability to move people with their words. Now, imagine having that power, not to control others, but to connect with them, not to win arguments, but to create alignment, not to manipulate outcomes, but to make outcomes better for everyone involved. This book is about helping you do exactly that. Why persuasion is misunderstood. For years, people have associated persuasion with manipulation, sales pressure, or smooth-talking charmers. But real persuasion isn't about tricks or deception. It's about truth delivered with precision. Think about a doctor convincing a patient to adopt a healthier lifestyle, a lawyer presenting a powerful case, a parent guiding their child toward the right decision, a startup founder convincing an investor to take a chance. All of these are acts of persuasion rooted in clarity, conviction, and connection. Persuasion done right is honest. It uplifts both the speaker and the listener. It creates win-win situations. It's about presenting your ideas in a way that others are open to hearing and willing to support. And here's the best part: anyone can learn it. Why you should master persuasion now. We live in a world full of noise. Everyone's talking, but few are truly heard. Everyone's offering, but few are trusted. Everyone wants something, but few know how to get it in the right way. When you master persuasion, you stand out. Your voice cuts through the noise. Your ideas are taken seriously. People respond to you with interest. They remember you. They respect you. And they want to say yes to you. Whether you're trying to land your dream job, lead a team, sell a product, fix a broken relationship, raise funds for a cause, or simply become more influential in everyday life, persuasion is the tool that makes it possible. It doesn't require money, power, or status. It requires only awareness, skill, and practice. And once you have it, everything becomes easier. What you will learn in this book. This book is your step-by-step guide to becoming a master of persuasion. You'll learn how to understand how people make decisions, create magnetic first impressions, build trust, and genuine connections, speak in ways that naturally influence behavior, ask for what you want, and get it, handle objections, and turn resistance into agreement, use proven persuasion techniques in person, online, and in writing, stay ethical and authentic in every interaction. Each chapter will give you practical tools, examples, and simple strategies you can apply immediately. No fluff, no theory without action, just clear insights and techniques that work. By the end of this book, you'll have a full persuasion toolkit built on psychology, communication science, and real-world experience. And more importantly, you'll have the confidence to use it Chapter 1. The Psychology of Persuasion. If you want to become a master persuader, you must first understand what truly drives people. Not what they say they want, but what their minds and emotions are silently craving underneath. This chapter will guide you through the hidden forces that shape human behavior and decision-making, so you can influence people from a place of genuine understanding. Because persuasion doesn't begin with talking. It begins with listening, especially to the psychology behind every yes, every no, and every maybe. People don't make decisions based on logic alone. We like to think we are logical creatures, that we weigh pros and cons, analyze options, and come to rational conclusions. But the truth is, logic is only a small part of the equation. In reality, emotion drives most decisions, especially the important ones. We buy things because they make us feel good, feel safe, or feel seen. We say yes to people who make us feel important. We choose leaders who stir emotion, not just those who list facts. Psychologist Antonio Damasio once studied patients who had damage to the part of their brain responsible for emotion. These patients could describe options logically, but they couldn't make even the simplest decisions, like whether to eat chicken or fish for dinner. They had no emotional signal to guide them. This shows one thing. Without emotion, logic is powerless. To persuade someone, you must connect emotionally before you convince intellectually. The two systems of thinking psychologists often describe. Two systems in the brain. System 1 is fast, emotional, intuitive. System 2 is slow, logical, deliberate. System 1 acts first. It's your gut reaction, your quick judgment. It's what tells you instantly whether you like someone, trust someone, or feel safe. System may second step and later to analyze and justify, but by then, the emotional groundwork has already been laid. So, when you speak to someone, remember, their system 1 is always listening first. If you trigger the wrong emotion, confusion, boredom, suspicion, you've already lost them. But if you make them feel curious, valued, or inspired, you've opened the door to influence. Core human drives that shape decisions. People are different, but their psychological drivers are surprisingly similar. Here are some of the deepest motivations you can speak to when persuading. 1. The need for safety. People want to feel secure, physically, financially, emotionally. When you show that your idea or offer brings stability, it becomes more persuasive. Point 2. The desire for belonging. Humans are wired to seek acceptance. When you help someone feel included, supported, or aligned with a group they respect, you build influence instantly. 3. The pursuit of growth. People want to improve, whether it's health, wealth, knowledge, or happiness. If what you're offering helps them grow, they'll lean in. Point 4. The fear of loss is a powerful motivator. People will act faster to avoid losing something than to gain something new. Use this principle carefully, but ethically. Point 5. The search for meaning. We're drawn to things that give our lives meaning or purpose. If your message taps into a bigger story or mission, it resonates more deeply. When your words speak to one or more of these inner drives, your influence grows. You're not just offering a product, idea, or request. You're meeting a psychological need. How trust and emotion work together. You cannot persuade without trust. And trust is built not by words alone, but by consistency, presence, and emotional alignment. If people trust you, they will overlook small mistakes. If they don't trust you, even perfect logic won't matter. There are 3 types of trust that play into persuasion. Competence trust. Do they believe you know what you're talking about? Character trust. Do they believe you have good intentions? Emotional trust. Do they feel comfortable, understood, and safe with you? Build all 3, and your persuasion power multiplies. The power of mirror neurons. There's a reason people smile when you smile. Yawn when you yawn. Mirror your posture when they feel close to you. It's because of mirror neurons, special cells in the brain that copy what we see in others. This is how humans connect and empathize. It's also a secret weapon in persuasion. When you understand someone's emotional state and reflect it calmly, respectfully, they feel seen. And when they feel seen, they trust you. And when they trust you, they listen. This is why persuasion starts with tuning in, with empathy, with observing tone, mood, energy. Speak in a way that matches their state, then gently lead them to a better one. Cognitive biases. The shortcuts of the mind. The human brain takes mental shortcuts all day long. These are known as cognitive biases, and smart persuaders understand how to use them ethically. Here are a few that matter most in influence. 1. Confirmation bias. People seek information that supports what they already believe. If you start by affirming something they already feel, they're more open to hearing something new. Point 2. Reciprocity bias. When someone gives us something, time, attention, value, we feel the urge to give something back. Even a kind word or useful insight can trigger this effect. Point 3. Social proof. We tend to follow what others are doing. Show that your idea is already supported, used, or trusted by others, and it feels safer to accept. Point 4. Authority bias. People tend to trust experts, titles, or confidence. Speak with clarity and certainty, not arrogance, but quiet authority, and people will follow. These biases are not flaws. They're mental habits. Use them wisely, and you move with the brain, not against it. Why some people say yes and others don't. Persuasion is not about having the perfect words. It's about meeting the right person at the right moment, with the right message. Some people say yes quickly. Others resist. Some need logic. Others need stories. Some want certainty. Others want possibility. A master persuader doesn't use one approach. They adjust. They read the room. They study reactions. They test and adapt. This flexibility, this awareness, is what separates amateurs from masters. The better you understand how people think and feel, the more precise your influence becomes. You can learn this skill. Persuasion is not a gift you're born with. It's a skill you build. And psychology is the foundation of that skill. Be why learning how the human mind works, what moves it, what calms it, what drives it, you become more than just a better speaker. You become someone who can change lives, open minds, and inspire action. This is the foundation. And from here, we build. Chapter 2. The first impression advantage. The moment you walk into a room, send a message, or open your mouth to speak, people are already forming opinions. Within the first few seconds, their brains are making decisions about your credibility, your confidence, your likability, and your intentions. It doesn't matter how smart, skilled, or persuasive you are later on. If your first impression is weak, the rest of your message might never reach them. That's the power of a first impression. And once it's formed, it's hard to reverse. This chapter will show you how to master those crucial first moments so you can gain trust quickly, command respect naturally, and set yourself up for influence right from the start. Why first impressions matter so much in psychology. There's a concept called thin slicing. It means that people make very quick judgments based on limited information, often in less than 7 seconds. And most of the time, they're not even aware they're doing it. They decide, do I trust this person? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they worth listening to? This is why persuasive people don't wait to make an impact. They understand that influence begins the moment someone sees or hears them. Whether it's in person, over video, through an email, or even a social media post, your presence speaks before your message does. The 3 elements of a powerful first impression. There are 3 things people pick up on immediately. 1. Confidence. Confidence is magnetic. When you carry yourself with quiet self-assurance, others feel more secure around you. You don't need to brag. You don't need to dominate the room. True confidence is calm, focused, and grounded. Point 2. Warmth. People respond to warmth before they respond to logic. A friendly tone, a genuine smile, open body language. All of these make people feel safe and open. You don't have to be overly enthusiastic. Just be sincerely present. Point 3. Credibility. Credibility is built through posture, eye contact, tone, and clarity. It's how you say what you say, not just the content. When you speak with intention and conviction, people trust that you know what you're talking about. The most persuasive people project all 3: confidence, warmth, and credibility, often within seconds. Mastering your body language. Before you speak a word, your body has already spoken. And people believe what they see, more than what they hear. That's why mastering nonverbal cues is essential for persuasion. Here's how to use your body to send the right signals. Posture. Stand tall, but relaxed. Don't shrink. Don't stiffen. A strong but open stance conveys both presence and approachability. Eye contact. Make steady, respectful eye contact. Not staring, but not looking away either. Good eye contact shows interest, honesty, and strength. Facial expression. A neutral or slightly smiling face is best. Too serious can seem cold. Too smiley can seem fake. Find the balance. Hand gestures. Use natural hand movements to emphasize points, but don't overdo it. Open palms signal honesty and openness. Proximity. Respect personal space. Being too close can feel intrusive. Too far can feel disconnected. Remember, the body never lies. So align your physical presence with your intention to influence calmly and respectfully. The power of your voice next to your body. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools of persuasion. Not just the words, but the tone, pace, and energy behind them. To create a strong vocal impression. Speak clearly. Avoid mumbling or filler words. Clarity builds authority. Lower your tone slightly. People trust deeper tones more. Not forced, just grounded. Pace yourself. Speaking too fast signals nervousness. Speaking too slowly can lose attention. Find a natural, steady rhythm. Pause intentionally. A well-placed pause adds power to your words. It also gives people time to absorb what you're saying. When your voice sounds confident and calm, people lean in. When it sounds rushed or uncertain, they lean away. What to say in the first 30 seconds? You don't need a script to make a great first impression, but you do need intention. What's your goal in those first few seconds? To make them feel welcome, curious, open. Here are a few things you can say or do that create immediate connection. A sincere compliment. You have a really thoughtful way of explaining that. A shared interest. I noticed you enjoy design. I'm a fan too. A curious question. What inspired you to start doing what you do? Avoid jumping straight into your pitch, idea, or ask. Start by establishing common ground or building emotional alignment. That small connection lays the foundation for bigger influence. The halo effect. There's a powerful psychological phenomenon called the halo effect. It means that when someone has a good first impression of you, they tend to see everything else you do in a more favorable light. That if you seem confident, they assume you're competent. If you seem friendly, they assume you're trustworthy. Even small signals, like dressing well or having good posture, can cause others to see you as more intelligent, reliable, or capable. This works in your favor, but it also means that a poor first impression can do the opposite. That's why persuasive people treat first moments with care. They know they're planting seeds that shape how the rest of the conversation unfolds. First impressions in the digital world today. Many of your first impressions won't happen in person. They'll happen through a screen, a voice note, a message, or a profile picture. Here's how to create strong first impressions digitally. In emails or messages, be clear, concise, and warm. Personalize your message. Avoid sounding robotic. On video calls, sit up straight, look into the camera, and smile slightly. Speak clearly and listen attentively. On social media, make sure your profile reflects who you are. Your tone, language, and visuals should be consistent and aligned with your personal or professional brand. Even in a digital world, people crave realness. Show up with intention and sincerity, and your influence will grow, screen or no screen. Practice the first 10 seconds. One of the simplest exercises to boost your persuasion power is to practice the first 10 seconds of meeting someone. Whether you're walking into a meeting, starting a conversation, or introducing yourself at an event, practice how you want to show up. Ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this space? How do I want others to feel in my presence? What message do I want my body and voice to send? Then align your behavior with those answers. Because influence begins before you start persuading. It begins with who you are in that first moment. Chapter 3. The Secret Sauce. Rapport. UVE made a great first impression. The person seems open, even curious. Now what? This is where the real work begins. First impressions can open a door, but rapport is what keeps it open. Without it, your message falls flat. With it, almost anything becomes possible. Rapport is that subtle yet powerful bond between two people. It's the invisible thread of connection, trust, and emotional alignment. When rapport is strong, conversations flow easily. Resistance melts away. People want to hear you. They want to agree with you. They feel seen, heard, and safe. That's why rapport is the secret sauce of persuasion. And in this chapter, you'll learn exactly how to build it, step by step. What is rapport, really? Rapport is more than small talk. It's more than being nice. It's an emotional bridge, a shared space where two minds feel in sync that you've felt it before. That sense when talking to someone just feels natural. You laugh at the same time. You nod instinctively. You feel understood without needing to explain every detail. The IT doesn't happen by accident. Skilled persuaders know how to create rapport intentionally. They do it by paying close attention to how others think, feel, and respond, and by making subtle adjustments to their own behavior. This is not about pretending or faking interest. It's about attunement, tuning yourself into someone else's frequency so your message lands smoothly. The foundations of rapport. There are three key elements that form the bedrock of rapport. 1. Genuine interest. People can tell when you're just waiting for your turn to speak. They can also tell when you're truly interested in what they have to say. Asking thoughtful questions, listening actively, and showing curiosity builds a connection faster than anything else. Point 2. Emotional alignment. If someone is calm, you don't storm in with high-energy talk. If they're serious, you don't start joking right away. Meet them where they are, emotionally, then guide the tone of the conversation from there. This makes them feel understood. Point 3. Respect and presence. Nothing destroys rapport faster than distraction or judgment. When you give someone your full attention, without checking your phone or thinking about what to say next, you're telling them, you matter. That's the most persuasive message of all. The art of mirroring. One of the most powerful, natural ways to build rapport is through mirroring. Mirroring means subtly reflecting the other person's behavior, their body language, their tone of voice, their speech patterns, even their energy level. This isn't mimicry. It's about creating rhythm and harmony in the interaction. When done well, mirroring signals, we're alike. We're on the same team. And because people are drawn to those who seem similar to them, this creates instant ease. For example, if they speak slowly and softly, match that pace. If they gesture with their hands, gesture slightly too. If they use specific words or phrases, use them naturally in your replies. Mirroring builds subconscious trust. It makes the person feel connected to you without them even realizing why. Listen. Like a leader, most people listen to reply. Few people listen to understand. And that's where persuaders set themselves apart. Deep listening is a form of silent influence. When you listen with focus and patience, the other person starts to open up. They feel safe expressing thoughts they usually hide. And once they feel heard, they become more open to hearing you in return. Here's how to listen like a master communicator. Maintain eye contact, but don't stare. Nod occasionally to show engagement. Echo key words they use. Ask simple follow-up questions like, "Can you tell me more?" Or "What happened next?" Avoid interrupting, even if you have something valuable to add. A person who feels truly listened to will trust you more. And that's the soil in which persuasion grows. Find common ground early. People connect over shared values, goals, or experiences. Finding common ground early in the conversation helps form a sense of familiarity and alignment. You don't have to agree on everything, but look for something, anything, that you both care about. It could be a shared professional interest, a mutual acquaintance, similar goals, or challenges, a common experience. Even something small like growing up in the same region or working in similar fields. When you highlight this commonality, you change the dynamic from me versus you to we're in this together. And that small shift can unlock big doors. Use the person's name naturally. There's one word people love hearing more than almost any other: their own name. Using someone's name naturally throughout a conversation increases their sense of connection with you. It shows respect and attentiveness. Just don't overdo it. Use it when greeting them to acknowledge their point, occasionally in mid-conversation for emphasis. Saying a person's name isn't just polite, it's personal. And persuasion, at its core, is always personal. Pay attention to energy and timing. Even the right message will fall flat if it's delivered at the wrong time or in the wrong mood. Learn to read energy. Are they in a rush? Distracted? Tired? Anxious? Relaxed? Match their energy gently, then guide it. If they're low energy, don't burst in with excitement. Instead, align with their pace and slowly bring warmth or enthusiasm into the conversation. If they're already energized, you can raise your energy too. Timing also matters. If someone just walked into a stressful situation, it may not be the right moment for a detailed proposal or a bold request. Know when to wait and when to speak. Great persuaders don't force timing. They feel it. Vulnerability builds rapport faster sometimes. The fastest way to build rapport is by letting your guard down. Just a little. share something real. A small struggle, a personal lesson, a moment of uncertainty. This doesn't mean oversharing or appearing weak. It means being human. When you open up appropriately, others feel invited to do the same. And in that mutual openness, trust grows. Quickly, vulnerability is not weakness. It's a bridge, the feedback loop. Watch and adjust. The best persuaders are like musicians in a duet. They're constantly adjusting based on the other person's cues. They watch facial expressions, posture shifts, tone changes. That if someone leans in, they know it's time to go deeper. If someone leans back or crosses their arms, they ease off. This is called creating a feedback loop. It means you're not just talking, you're tuning in, moment by moment, and adapting. Rapport isn't something you do once and forget. It's something you maintain and refine as the conversation unfolds. Chapter 4. Speak to the heart. Not just the mind. Logic may convince people, but emotion moves them. You can present facts, numbers, statistics, and well-reasoned arguments. But if your words don't stir something inside the listener, their decision-making process remains untouched. Humans are emotional creatures. We feel first, then think. Even when we believe we're being logical, most of our decisions are shaped by how we feel about the situation, the person speaking, or the possible outcome. If you want to truly influence others, you must learn to speak not just to their brain, but to their heart. Why emotion is the engine of decision-making. Think of the most important decisions people make. Who to marry, which job to take, whether to trust someone, whether to buy a product. Very few of these are purely logical. Even when logic plays a role, the final push often comes from an emotional response. That emotional signal might be excitement, relief, curiosity, hope, or even fear. Emotion gives decisions their urgency and direction. This means your message needs to do more than make sense. It needs to feel right. You must paint a picture of how someone will feel after they agree with you, after they take the action you're guiding them toward. People don't remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. The power of storytelling. There's one tool that persuasive communicators use more than any other to engage emotions: storytelling. Facts speak to the head. Stories speak to the soul. Stories allow your audience to imagine, relate, and feel. They disarm skepticism. They lower resistance. They take people on a journey where logic alone cannot go. Even the simplest story can spark emotion. A personal struggle that led to success, a client who overcame a challenge, a vision of a better future. What if scenario that pulls them in. Structure matters. Most great stories follow this pattern. The setup: what was life like before the challenge? The conflict: what obstacle appeared? The turning point: what changed? The outcome: what was the result? The meaning: what did it teach? When used well, stories don't just inform, they inspire. Use emotional triggers in your language. Certain emotions activate people more than others. By using the right emotional triggers, you guide the listener toward a deeper connection with your message. Here are a few of the most effective ones. 1. Hope people want to believe things can get better. Speak to possibility, progress, and a brighter future. Example: imagine waking up every morning excited about your work. 2. Belonging. We all want to feel part of something. Use inclusive language and shared identity. Example: when people like us come together, we create change. 3. Fear. Used carefully, fear can motivate action, but never use it to manipulate. Use it to alert and protect. Example: if we don't adapt now, we might fall behind. 4. Pride. Speak to someone's identity and integrity. Appeal to their self-image and inner values. Example: you've worked too hard to settle for less. 5. Gratitude and recognition. People want to feel seen and valued. Acknowledging someone's efforts builds a powerful emotional bond. Example: your insight completely changed how I saw this problem. When crafting your message, ask, what emotion do I want the listener to feel by the end? Then build your words to carry them there. Speak with emotional tone. Not just words. How you say something often matters more than what you say. Tone of voice, pacing, pauses, volume. These elements create emotional meaning. A sincere message delivered flatly won't land, but an ordinary sentence delivered with energy and care can become unforgettable. Here's how to add emotional weight to your speech. Slow down during key points to add gravity. Raise your tone slightly. To express passion or urgency, lower your Tone to express seriousness or calm pause before or after an important line to let it sink and vary your pace to keep people engaged. Even silence can be powerful when used intentionally. It gives space for reflection, emotion, and impact. The principle of emotional matching: if someone is sad, angry, or stressed, don't rush in with enthusiasm. Match their emotional tone first. This shows empathy. Once you've aligned emotionally, you can gently shift the mood. This technique is called emotional matching and leading. Example: if someone is overwhelmed, I know this feels like a lot. I've been there, but we can take it one step at a time. If someone is doubtful, I completely understand your concern. It's smart to question things. Let's explore this together. By starting where they are emotionally, then guiding them upward, you gain their trust and attention. Avoid overloading with logic. Facts and logic are important, but too much information too soon creates overload. This is known as cognitive fatigue. When the brain receives too many data points without emotion, it starts to tune out. Instead, lead with feeling. Once someone is emotionally engaged, you can support your message with logic, not the other way around. Think of logic as the supporting actor. Emotion is the lead. Frame your message for meaning. The same information can feel different depending on how it's framed. Consider this. This new feature will increase efficiency by 20%. Versus, you'll save hours each week and finally have time to focus on what matters. Same benefit, but the second version connects emotionally. To persuade someone, don't just state the fact. Translate the fact into how it will impact their life, their goals, their stress, or their future. That's when people begin to care. Create an emotional destination. Every persuasive message should take people on an emotional journey. Ask yourself, where are they emotionally right now? Where do I want to take them? Maybe they're feeling stuck and you want them to feel hopeful. Maybe they're skeptical and you want them to feel trust. Maybe they're disengaged and you want them to feel inspired. Design your message to move them step by step from one emotional state to another. This is emotional architecture, and it's the blueprint of persuasion. Chapter 5. Influence frameworks that work. Now that you understand the psychology of persuasion, how to make a powerful first impression, build lasting rapport, and speak to the heart, you're ready for structure. Because while connection and emotion open the door, strategy walks you through it. This chapter is about proven, reliable frameworks that give your persuasion efforts clarity and direction. These frameworks have been used by world-class leaders, negotiators, marketers, coaches, and communicators across industries. Think of them as blueprints, repeatable patterns you can use to guide conversations, pitches, and decisions. When you have a framework, you don't guess. You lead. Let's explore the most powerful ones. Point 1. The IDA framework. This classic model comes from the world of advertising and sales, but it works in every persuasive scenario, from conversations to presentations. IDA stands for attention, capture their focus, interest, keep them engaged, desire, create emotional connection, action, lead them to act. Let's break it down. Attention. Before you persuade, you must interrupt their current focus. Start with something unexpected, relevant, or emotionally charged. Ask a thought-provoking question. Share a surprising fact. Make a bold statement. Example: did you know that over 90% of people fail to follow through on their goals, not because they're lazy, but because of one missing skill? Interest. Once you have their attention, maintain it by showing relevance. Why should this matter to them? Make it personal. Example: this one missing skill is something you can learn in under 5 minutes, and it can completely change how you handle challenges. Desire. Now, tap into emotion. Help them feel the benefit of saying yes, or the pain of staying where they are. Example: imagine waking up every day with clarity and confidence, knowing you can overcome anything without second-guessing yourself. Action. Finally, guide them clearly. What do you want them to do next? Ask for the decision, the step, the commitment, without hesitation. Example: all you need to do is take this first step, and I'll walk you through the rest. IDA is simple, effective, and timeless. Point 2. The problem: agitate, solve, PAS. Formula 1 of the most emotionally powerful structures in persuasion. This model works because it starts with the listener's pain, builds emotional urgency, then provides a clear solution. Here's how it works. Problem: start by clearly identifying A problem your listener is experiencing. Be specific and relatable. Example, you're doing your best, but no matter how hard you try, people still don't take your ideas seriously. Agitate now, intensify the pain, not in a cruel way, but by painting a vivid picture of the consequences. Make the cost of inaction feel real. Example, you watch others with less experience getting ahead. You start questioning your own value, and it gets harder to speak up. Introduce your solution as the way out. Make it sound simple, achievable, and powerful. Example, but once you learn how to communicate with calm authority, everything changes. You stop chasing approval. People start coming to you. PAS is particularly effective when someone is stuck or skeptical. It moves them emotionally and intellectually. Point 3. The yes ladder. The yes ladder is about building agreement step by step, starting small, then leading to a bigger yes. It works because each small yes builds psychological momentum. The listener begins to align with your message and feels more committed to the conversation. Here's how to use it. Start with questions or statements they already agree with. Example, would you agree that we all want to feel respected at work? Move to slightly larger points. Example, and when we don't feel heard, that can affect everything from performance to confidence. Then present your proposal. Example, that's why this communication approach is so powerful. Would you be open to trying it? The key is, don't rush. Let the yes build naturally. People resist big leaps, but they rarely resist small steps. Point 4. The WIFM principle. What's in it for me? No matter how passionate you are about your message, people are always asking themselves one question: what's in it for me? If you can answer that early and clearly, your influence multiplies to SO. Always translate your offer, idea, or request into direct benefits for the listener. Example, instead of saying, I need your help on this project, say, if we collaborate on this, your strengths and strategy will really shine, and it'll put you in front of the right people. Always connect your ask to their outcome. When people see themselves in your message, they're far more likely to say yes. Point 5. The feel, felt, found technique. This is a simple framework that works beautifully when you're dealing with objections or hesitation. It goes like this. Feel. Acknowledge how they feel. Felt. Share that others have felt the same. Found. Explain what was discovered or gained. Example, I completely understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way when they first heard about this. But what they found is that after trying it, they got results faster than expected. This structure shows empathy, builds trust, and gently leads someone past their resistance. That it's especially useful in sales, negotiations, or emotionally sensitive conversations. Point 6. The 3 R's of ethical persuasion in every persuasive exchange. Keep these 3 pillars in mind. They don't form a conversation structure, but they guide how you use every framework above. Point 1. Respect the person's values, boundaries, and autonomy. Influence should feel empowering, never manipulative. Point 2. Relevance. Make everything you say relevant to their world, not yours. Tailor your message to what they care about most. Point 3. Results. Always speak in terms of outcomes. Don't just describe features, plans, or ideas. Focus on the transformation it brings. Ethical persuasion isn't just more effective, it also builds trust that lasts. When to use which framework. Each of these frameworks serves a different purpose. Use IDA when introducing a new idea, pitch, or product. Use PAS when the audience is stuck, skeptical, or unaware of their need. Use the yes ladder when you want to ease someone into agreement. Use WIFM when your message risks sounding one-sided. Use feel, felt, found when someone raises objections or doubts. Use the 3 R's as a foundation for everything you do. You don't have to use one framework only. Great persuaders mix, match, and adapt depending on the moment. Practice makes power. Frameworks don't work if they live in your head. You need to practice them out loud, in real conversations, so they become second nature. Start small. Reframe a casual request to follow IDA. Write a message using PAS. Handle a friend's hesitation using feel, felt, found. The more you use these patterns, the more confident and effective you become. You won't sound scripted, you'll sound structured. And structure creates clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. And confidence persuades. Chapter 6. Language patterns of influence. Words have power. They can calm or provoke, invite or repel, open minds or shut them down. And when used with intention, words can subtly guide people's attention, emotions, and decisions without force or manipulation. In this chapter, you'll discover how to use language as a tool of influence, not by being flashy or clever, but by choosing words that shape perception, bypass resistance, and lead conversations toward positive outcomes. These are the language patterns used by master communicators, whether they're persuading in a boardroom, counseling a client, leading a team, or even guiding a friend. Let's explore the patterns that make influence sound effortless. Point 1. The power of presuppositions. A presupposition is something your words assume to be true without directly stating it. It's a subtle way to bypass resistance by framing your message in a way that suggests the outcome is already in motion. Examples. When you start seeing results, you'll wonder why you waited. This presupposes they will get results. As you consider this idea, you'll begin to see the benefits. This presupposes they'll at least consider it. Presuppositions sneak past the conscious gatekeeper in the listener's mind. They plant a seed, and often, that seed grows without resistance. Use this pattern to make your language feel natural, forward-moving, and confident. Point 2. Embedded commands. An embedded command is a subtle instruction hidden within a larger sentence. It doesn't feel forceful. It simply suggests a desired behavior in a way that's easy to accept. Example. Many people find it easier to make a decision when they take a deep breath and trust themselves. Here, take a deep breath and trust themselves is the embedded suggestion. As we talk, you might notice how clear this path is becoming. This invites them to feel clarity without demanding it. These suggestions bypass resistance because they're nested inside broader, gentle language. They don't trigger defense, they trigger agreement. Point 3. Language of possibility. Never box someone in. Instead of telling people what they must do, use words that open up options. This softens resistance and activates their imagination. Use phrases like, "What if?" "Imagine for a moment." "You could consider." "It might be helpful to." Examples. What if this approach gave you exactly what you've been looking for? Imagine how much more confident you'd feel if you mastered this one skill. The brain loves possibility, and people are more likely to follow you when the path feels like their choice, not your demand. Point 4. Softening language that builds agreement. People don't like being told they're wrong. So when you need to introduce a new perspective or challenge a belief, use softening language that preserves rapport. Here are a few techniques. Hey, yes, and instead of but. The word but negates everything that came before. Replace it with and to maintain agreement while redirecting. Instead of, "I see your point, but I think," say, "I see your point, and I think we can also look at it this way." B. Use maybe, sometimes, could. These words reduce the intensity of your suggestion, making it easier to accept. Sometimes, when people slow down, they make better choices. You could explore another way that may surprise you. The key is to guide gently, not push hard. Soft language leads people without triggering resistance. Point 5. Future pacing. Future pacing is the art of guiding someone's imagination into the future you want them to experience. It allows them to emotionally and mentally rehearse the benefit of your idea, making it feel real and attainable. Examples. Picture yourself 6 months from now, looking back at the moment you made this decision. Imagine walking into that meeting, calm, prepared, and in complete control. This pattern connects your message to personal transformation, which is far more persuasive than abstract logic. It creates emotional momentum. It shows them that action leads somewhere meaningful. Point 6. The rule of 3. There's something naturally satisfying about things that come in threes. It's rhythmic, memorable, and emotionally impactful. Great speakers and storytellers use this all the time. Examples. You'll feel more confident, more focused, and more in control. This approach is simple, effective, and proven. The brain responds to triads. When you present your ideas in groups of 3, they stick better. Point 7. Using their words, not yours. Want instant connection? Repeat their language. When you mirror the exact words someone uses, they feel understood, respected, aligned with you. For example, if they say, "I'm just trying to feel more in control," you don't respond with, "So you want to feel empowered." You say, "So you're looking to feel more in control, right?" This subtle echo builds trust quickly. People feel safest when you speak their language. Point 8. Strategic silence. Not every influence technique involves speaking. One of the most powerful tools is silence. After a key question, pause. After a powerful statement, pause. When someone hesitates to decide, stay silent. Silence creates space. And in that space, emotion rises, clarity forms, and action becomes possible. Don't rush to fill the gaps. Let your words breathe. Let the listener process. Sometimes, your silence is more persuasive than your pitch. Point 9. Questions that guide thought. The right question can do what a long explanation cannot. It can shift perception, open the mind, and inspire action. Here are some powerful types of persuasive questions. Clarity questions. What exactly do you want to feel more confident about? Contrast questions. What's the difference between the times you succeed and the times you struggle? Possibility questions. What would it feel like to finally solve this? Commitment questions. If you knew this would work, would you be ready to begin? Questions lead the mind forward. Use them to guide, not pressure. Point 10. Positive framing. You can say the same thing in a way that empowers or disempowers. Negative. If you don't learn this, you'll keep falling behind. Positive. When you learn this, you'll finally move ahead with confidence. People are more likely to take action when they're moving towards something positive rather than avoiding something negative. Positive framing motivates, uplifts, and makes you more persuasive in every conversation. Chapter 7. The art of asking. Persuasion isn't just about how well you speak. It's about knowing when and how to ask, with clarity, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Surprisingly, one of the biggest barriers to influence isn't rejection. It's silence. Too many people hesitate to ask for what they want. They fear hearing no, appearing needy, or pushing too hard. But here's the truth. You can't receive what you don't request. You can't influence without initiative. You can't win without asking. In this chapter, we'll break down the psychology, strategy, and subtle techniques behind asking in a way that gets results, without force, fear, or manipulation. Why most people struggle with asking. People often avoid asking because they're afraid of the outcome. But the fear of rejection usually says more about our self-worth than the person we're speaking to. The real reason many avoid asking is because they don't believe they deserve a yes, don't know how to frame the request, don't want to seem weak or demanding, worry they'll damage the relationship. But persuasion isn't about begging or pushing. It's about proposing a win-win. And when you ask the right way, people are far more open than you think. The psychology of a yes. Before we get to the how, let's talk about the why behind saying yes. People say yes when they feel respected. The request is clear and reasonable. The benefit outweighs the cost. They believe the asker is confident and trustworthy. Saying yes aligns with their values or identity. So, if you want more yes, you must focus not on convincing, but on creating clarity, confidence, and alignment. Step 1. Know what you want before you open your mouth. Be sure about your goal. Be specific. Be focused. Be clear. Vague asking gets vague results. That don't say, I was just wondering if maybe we could chat sometime. Do say, would you be open to a 15-minute call this week to discuss the next step? Clarity signals confidence. It tells the other person you respect their time and value your own. Step 2. Ask with confidence, not apology. Avoid weak openers like, sorry to bother you. This is probably a bad time. But you can totally say no, but these phrases undermine your credibility before your real message even begins. Instead, use confident, respectful language like, I'd love to ask for your insight on something. Can I run something by you? Would now be a good time to discuss something important? Confidence doesn't mean being forceful. It means speaking with self-respect. Step 3. Frame the request as a benefit. When you ask, don't focus on what you're getting. Focus on what they're gaining, or at least how the request aligns with something they care about. Examples. Instead of, can you help me get this done? Say, your input would really elevate the final result. Instead of, will you attend my event? Say, I think this event aligns well with what you stand for, and your presence would be incredibly meaningful. People are more likely to say yes when the request feels valuable to them, not just to you. Step 4. Make it easy to say yes. Make your request as easy, low risk, and specific as possible. Heavy checkmark. Make it time-bound. Heavy checkmark. Be clear about expectations. Heavy checkmark. Offer options or flexibility. For example, Would you be open to reviewing this by Friday afternoon? Can you choose one of these two approaches you feel best fits? If it's easier, we can meet virtually instead of in person. The easier you make it to say yes, the more likely people will. Step 5. Be willing to hear no. Without losing power, ironically, people are more likely to say yes to someone who isn't afraid of hearing no. Why? Because confidence in asking shows maturity, emotional intelligence, detachment from desperation. You can say, "Of course, I understand if it's not possible. Either way, I appreciate you considering it. I wanted to ask because I value your opinion." No pressure. This shows that you value their choice, not just your outcome. It creates a space of respect and freedom, which often leads to greater openness. Bonus technique. They ask, then listen. Rule: once you've made the ask, stop talking. Don't rush to explain yourself. Don't justify. Don't fill the silence. Simply ask and wait. That moment of silence is powerful. It allows the other person to process. And often, they'll lean into the request without needing more persuasion. If you speak too soon, you might interrupt their internal yes. So remember, make the ask, then let it land. Point 3. Types of high-impact asks. Let's now look at what types of asks create the biggest leverage in persuasion. 1. The insight ask: can I get your perspective on something I'm working on? This builds trust and opens doors. People love being seen as wise or experienced. Point 2. The commitment ask: would you be willing to support this project for the next 2 weeks? Specific, time-bound asks are more likely to get results than vague promises. Point 3. The referral ask is: there anyone else you think I should speak with about this? This multiplies your network and opportunities without over-asking one person. Language templates you can use here are some ready-to-use sentence starters that naturally lead to a yes. Would you be open to? I'd really appreciate your thoughts on: what would it take for this to work for you? If this aligns with your goals, would you consider? Here's something that might interest you. Adapt them to your tone. Speak from sincerity and listen deeply after the ask. Asking in different contexts. Let's quickly look at how asking works across different areas of life. In business, don't just pitch. Ask questions that reveal needs. What's the biggest challenge you're facing this quarter? Would you be open to a new approach that could increase efficiency? In leadership, empower, don't demand. What do you think would inspire the team most right now? How can I support you in delivering your best work? In relationships, ask to build emotional closeness. Can I be honest with you about something I've been feeling? How can we create more balance together? The better your questions, the deeper your influence. Chapter 8. Handling objections gracefully. Every persuasive conversation will, at some point, meet resistance. Someone will hesitate. They'll raise a concern. They'll say, "I'm not sure," or "let me think about it," or even "no," and that's not a bad thing. Objections are not rejection. They are invitations for deeper understanding. They're signs that the person is thinking critically, weighing options, and taking your message seriously. The key is not to fear objections, but to welcome them, to lean in, not push back, to respond with grace, empathy, and clarity. This chapter is your guide to doing just that. Why people object. Before we talk about how to respond, let's explore why people object in the first place. Here are the 5 most common reasons. Lack of clarity: they don't fully understand what you're offering or asking. Lack of trust: they're unsure about you, your intentions, or the outcomes. Lack of urgency: they don't see why they should act now instead of later. Lack of belief: they doubt whether it will work for them. Fear of change: they're afraid of losing control, making the wrong choice, or disrupting what's familiar. Knowing the root of the objection helps you respond at the level of truth, not just the surface. The golden rule: stay calm and curious when someone objects. Your first response should not be defense. It should be curiosity. Instead of resisting their resistance, lean in with empathy. Say things like, "That's a great question. Let's unpack it. I appreciate you bringing that up. Tell me more about what's on your mind." This disarms defensiveness. It turns the conversation from a battle into a collaboration. Technique 1. Feel, felt, found. We introduced this earlier, but now let's deepen your understanding of how powerful it can be. Feel, felt, found is a graceful, empathetic way to meet resistance without creating friction. Here's how it works. Feel. Acknowledge their emotion or hesitation. "I understand how you feel about that." Felt. Share that others have felt the same. Others I've worked with felt that way too. Found offer a new perspective based on their experience. But what they found was that once they tried it, things changed for the better. This pattern builds trust because it validates their perspective without giving up your influence. Technique 2. Clarify the concern sometimes. What sounds like an objection is actually a question in disguise. When someone says, "It's too expensive," they might mean, "I'm not sure it's worth it." Or when they say, "I need to think about it," they might mean, "I don't want to say no directly." Your job is to dig gently beneath the words. Ask, "Can I ask what specifically makes you feel that way? What would make you feel more confident in this decision? What would need to change for this to work for you?" When you clarify the objection, you can solve the right problem, not just guess. Technique 3. Reframe the objection. Reframing means changing the way someone sees a situation without denying their perspective. That let's say someone says, "I don't think I have time for this." You might respond, "Totally understandable. What I've found is that even 10 minutes a day with this can actually free up hours later in the week." You're not fighting their belief. You're showing how the same situation can be interpreted differently. Another example. "This feels risky." Reframe. Yes, and the greatest opportunities usually carry some risk, especially when the potential payoff is real. Reframing turns barriers into bridges. Technique 4. Isolate the objection. Sometimes people give vague resistance. "I'm not sure, maybe later," or "I need more time." Rather than trying to overcome everything, isolate the real concern. Ask, "If we could solve that one issue, would the rest feel good to you? Besides that, is there anything else holding you back?" This helps you narrow the focus, and sometimes you'll discover that the objection was only one small part, not the whole story. Technique 5. Offer a low-risk path forward. When someone hesitates, it's often because the leap feels too big. Instead of pushing for a full commitment, offer a smaller step. Examples. How about we start with just 1 week and evaluate from there? You don't have to decide everything today. Let's take the first step together. People are more likely to say yes when the ask feels safe and reversible. This is called a risk reduction clause. It builds confidence while keeping the momentum alive. Technique 6. Acknowledge the value of saying no sometimes. Paradoxically, the best way to overcome an objection is to release your need to overcome it. When you say, "It's completely okay if this isn't right for you. I just wanted to put it on the table," you take away pressure. You show emotional maturity. And very often, people feel more willing to say yes when they know they can walk away freely. This is the energy of non-attachment, and it's magnetic. People trust you more when they sense you're not desperate. Common objections and sample responses. Let's go through a few real-life examples. Objection: "I can't afford it." Response: "Totally get that. Some of the most successful people I work with started in the same place." The question is, if this creates the results you're after, what's it costing you not to invest? Objection: "I don't think it'll work for me." Response: "That's a fair concern. May I share how others in your situation found success using this?" Objection: "I need more time." Response: "Of course. If it's helpful, I can check back in a few days, or if now isn't the right time, that's totally fine too." Your tone, your patience, and your confidence matter more than your words. What not to do when facing objections. Let's quickly touch on mistakes to avoid. Crossmark: don't get defensive or argumentative. Crossmark: don't talk over them or interrupt. Crossmark: don't ignore their concern. Crossmark: don't beg or plead. Crossmark: don't try to win the conversation. Instead, listen, clarify, reframe, guide, and respect their pace. Objections are not obstacles. They are opportunities for deeper persuasion. Chapter 9. Persuasion in the digital world. The world we live in today is shaped by screens, smartphones, computers, tablets, social media, email, messaging apps. The digital world has changed how we connect, communicate, and influence others. And if you want to master persuasion today, you cannot ignore the unique dynamics of online interaction. Persuasion in the digital space requires a blend of classic influence principles and modern communication skills. The good news? The core truths about human psychology remain the same. People still respond to emotion, trust, clarity, and connection, but the way you deliver your message must adapt to the medium. In this chapter, we'll explore how to apply persuasion mastery to emails, social media, video, text, and more, so your influence reaches further and lands stronger. The unique challenges of digital persuasion. Before diving into strategies, let's understand what makes digital persuasion tricky. Lack of face-to-face cues, no body language, no tone of voice, no immediate feedback. This can lead to misunderstandings or missed emotional signals. Shorter attention spans. People skim emails, scroll through feeds, and multitask. Your message must grab attention fast. Information overload. Digital users are bombarded with content every second. Standing out requires clarity and impact. Delayed responses. Unlike conversations, replies might come hours or days later. This requires patience and careful follow-up. Easier to ignore or say no without social pressure. It's simpler to ignore requests or be blunt with rejection. 1. Crafting persuasive digital messages. Your words carry even more weight when the person can't hear your voice or see your face. This makes word choice, tone, and structure vital. Here are key tips. A. Subject lines and headlines. Your subject line or headline is your first impression online. Make it clear and relevant, curiosity-inducing, but honest, brief, and action-oriented. Example subject lines: how to double your productivity in 7 days, a quick question about your goals, are you ready to unlock new opportunities? B. Open with value. Start by addressing the reader's need or pain point immediately. Don't bury your message in fluff. Example: I know you're busy, so here's a quick way to save time on your daily tasks. C. Use short paragraphs and bullet points. Break up text to make it easy to scan. Bullets highlight key benefits or steps. D. Include a clear call to action. CTA. What do you want the reader to do next? Make it simple and direct. Reply to this email with your questions. Click here to schedule a free consultation. Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Building trust digitally. Trust is the foundation of persuasion, especially online, where skepticism runs high. Here's how to build trust without face-to-face contact. Be authentic. Write in a natural, conversational tone. Avoid jargon or sales speak. Show social proof. Include testimonials, case studies, or endorsements. Be transparent. Share who you are, your intent, and any important details up front. Respond promptly. Quick, thoughtful replies show respect and reliability. Maintain consistency. Regularly share valuable content or updates so people get to know you. Point 3. Leveraging visuals and multimedia. Digital persuasion isn't just about words. Images, videos, and graphics amplify your message and evoke emotion. Use professional but relatable images that support your message. Short videos can build connection, show your passion, expertise, or testimonials. Infographics clarify complex ideas quickly. Keep multimedia focused and purposeful. Every element should serve your goal. 4. The power of storytelling. Online stories still rule. Even in a tweet, a LinkedIn post, or a blog comment, a short narrative grabs attention and makes your message memorable. Use stories that show transformation or results, highlight real people, and relatable struggles. Connect emotionally, not just logically. Storytelling creates empathy and trust, 2 pillars of influence. 5. Managing objections without immediate feedback. Online, objections and concerns might not come up right away. They might appear as silence, lack of response, or indirect comments. To handle this, anticipate objections by addressing common concerns upfront in your messages. Invite questions explicitly. If you have any doubts, just reply. Follow up politely if you don't get a reply. Show you care, not pressure. Use surveys or polls to gather feedback and understand hesitation. Point 6. Engaging your audience. Engagement is the heartbeat of digital persuasion. Encourage interaction by asking open-ended questions, inviting comments, and sharing experiences. Creating polls or quizzes, hosting live Q&A sessions, or webinars. Engaged audiences feel involved and valued, which increases trust and influence. 7. The ethics of digital persuasion. Online influence can be powerful and sometimes easy to abuse. Always practice honesty in your claims, respect for privacy and consent, avoiding manipulation or false urgency, giving value before asking for anything. Ethical persuasion online builds long-term relationships and reputation. 8. Platforms and their persuasion styles. Each digital platform has its own culture and best practices. Email, personal, direct, clear. CTA. LinkedIn, professional, value-driven, story-based. Instagram, visual, emotional, brief captions. Twitter/X, concise, provocative, question-driven. Facebook, community-focused, interactive, conversational. Adapt your style to each platform for maximum impact. Point 9. Using data to refine your approach. Digital tools give you feedback, open rates, and click rates for emails, likes, shares, comments. On social media, analytics for website visits and conversions. Use this data to understand what works, what doesn't, and to continually improve your messages. Chapter 10. Ethical Persuasion. Influence with integrity. Persuasion is a powerful tool. In the right hands, it creates opportunities, solves problems, and builds meaningful relationships. In the wrong hands, it can manipulate, deceive, and damage trust. This chapter is about choosing the right hands. It's about ethical persuasion, influencing others with honesty, respect, and integrity. Mastering persuasion isn't just about getting what you want. It's about doing so in a way that honors the other person's autonomy, values, and dignity. Because real influence lasts only when it's built on trust. Why ethics matter in persuasion. Many people assume persuasion is about bending others to your will. But this short-sighted approach backfires. Without ethics, you risk damaging relationships beyond repair. Your reputation can suffer irreparably. You lose credibility, which is your most valuable asset. You create resistance and pushback rather than collaboration. On the other hand, ethical persuasion builds strong, lasting connections, inspires cooperation and goodwill, creates a positive cycle of influence and respect, supports your long-term success and peace of mind. Core principles of ethical persuasion. Let's explore the essential values that guide ethical influence. Point 1. Honesty. Always communicate truthfully. Avoid exaggeration, misrepresentation, or omission of important facts. Be clear about what you can deliver. Acknowledge limitations and risks. Don't promise what you can't fulfill. Point 2. Respect. Honor the other person's autonomy and perspective. Listen actively. Validate their feelings and opinions. Never pressure or coerce. Point 3. Transparency. Be open about your intentions and motives. Share why you're asking or proposing something. Disclose any relevant interests or benefits. Avoid hidden agendas. Point 4. Fairness. Seek win-win outcomes where all parties benefit. Avoid exploiting vulnerabilities. Balance give and take. Recognize when to walk away if it's not right for both. Point 5. Responsibility. Take ownership of your influence and its effects. Consider the impact of your words and actions. Correct mistakes or misunderstandings. Continuously improve your skills with integrity. How to practice ethical persuasion daily. Ethical persuasion isn't an abstract ideal. It's a practice. Here's how you can bring it to life in every interaction. Ask yourself, am I being honest and clear right now? Pause before speaking. Will this build trust or break it? Seek feedback. Invite others to share how they experience your influence. Own your mistakes. Admit when you're wrong and make amends. Focus on service. Aim to help others, not just yourself. When these habits become second nature, ethical persuasion becomes effortless. The role of empathy in ethical influence. Empathy is the heart of ethical persuasion. It means truly understanding and caring about the other person's experience. When you lead with empathy, you communicate more clearly because you know what matters to them. You reduce resistance because they feel heard and valued. You create a safe space for honest dialogue. You build rapport that supports mutual growth. Empathy is not weakness. It is your strongest influence asset. Avoiding manipulation and coercion. Manipulation uses deceit, pressure, or hidden motives to control others. Coercion forces someone's hand through threats, guilt, or intimidation. Both damage trust and destroy relationships. Watch for these red flags: hiding information or twisting facts. Using emotional blackmail, creating false urgency or scarcity, ignoring the other's boundaries, playing on fears or insecurities unfairly. If you catch yourself falling into these patterns, pause and realign with ethical principles. When to say no. Sometimes, ethical persuasion means saying no to a request or opportunity when it conflicts with your values, when it harms others, when it doesn't serve a fair outcome. Saying no with kindness and clarity preserves your integrity and respect. It also models healthy boundaries, which encourages others to do the same. Long term Benefits of ethical persuasion. Choosing integrity in your influence yields benefits beyond immediate results. Stronger, more loyal relationships, positive reputation, and referrals. Greater self-respect and confidence. Reduce stress from guilt or fear of exposure. Sustainable success that doesn't burn bridges. Ethical persuasion is the foundation of true mastery. Chapter 11. Master Persuaders in Action. Theory is important, but seeing persuasion in action brings it to life. In this chapter, we'll explore how master persuaders throughout history and in modern times have used the principles, language patterns, and techniques we've discussed. By studying their approaches, you'll gain practical insight and inspiration to elevate your own persuasive power. Winston Churchill. The power of resilient communication. Winston Churchill, Britain's Prime Minister during World War II, is a classic example of influence through clear, confident, and inspiring language. During some of the darkest days, Churchill's speeches rallied a nation. His words didn't just inform, they stirred courage, hope, and unity. Key lessons from Churchill: use vivid imagery to connect emotionally. We shall fight on the beaches. Repeat key phrases to build momentum and memorability. Project: calm confidence even amid chaos. Address fears honestly while guiding toward positive action. Churchill's speeches show how language shapes collective mindset and how persuasion can be a force for resilience. Martin Luther King Jr. The art of moral persuasion. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led a social revolution through persuasive speeches grounded in morality and empathy. His "I Have a Dream" speech is a masterclass in ethical influence. Key takeaways: appeal to shared values and higher ideals. Use powerful metaphors and storytelling. Speak from deep personal conviction. Balance urgency with hope. King's persuasion was not about coercion, but about awakening conscience and inspiring action through integrity. Steve Jobs. Selling vision and emotion. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, was a master at persuading people to embrace innovation. His presentations and product launches were carefully crafted to create excitement and belief in what didn't yet exist. Lessons from Jobs. Create a compelling vision that taps into desire and identity. Simplify complex ideas into memorable messages. Use storytelling to make technology personal. Build anticipation and deliver surprises. Jobs demonstrated how persuasion combines emotion, clarity, and showmanship to drive commitment. Oprah Winfrey. Building rapport and trust. Oprah's influence is rooted in her ability to connect deeply with people. Her warmth, authenticity, and active listening create a safe space where guests and audiences feel seen and valued. What you can learn: prioritize genuine connection over agenda. Use empathy to create trust quickly. Share personal stories to build relatability. Engage with questions that invite openness. Oprah's mastery reminds us that influence is often about heart-to-heart connection. Nelson Mandela. Persuasion through patience and forgiveness. Nelson Mandela's leadership in ending apartheid is a testament to persuasion beyond words. His approach combined patience, forgiveness, and unwavering commitment to reconciliation. Lessons include: lead by example with integrity and humility. Understand your opponent's perspective deeply. Use silence and calm to defuse tension. Persist gently but firmly toward your vision. Mandela shows us that sometimes the most powerful persuasion is the quiet, consistent presence of character. Modern digital influencers. Combining authenticity and scale. In today's digital world, influencers on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn use persuasion to grow massive followings. Key strategies they use: authenticity above all. Followers crave real connection. Consistent value delivery to build trust over time. Engagement through stories, questions, and calls to action. Leveraging multimedia to amplify messages. Their success proves that timeless persuasion principles apply even as platforms evolve. What you can apply from these masters across all these examples. Notice what they have in common: clarity of message that is easy to understand, emotional connection that moves people beyond logic, authenticity and integrity that build trust, persistence and patience in guiding change, adapting style to audience and context. Master persuaders don't just talk, they listen, observe, and respond. They lead by inspiring, not by forcing. Chapter 12. Build your influence daily. Mastering persuasion is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice, like any skill worth mastering. Whether it's music, athletics, or leadership, persuasion grows strongest with consistent effort. This chapter is about the small daily actions that compound into unstoppable influence. Why daily practice matters. Influence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The less you engage, the more it weakens. Every conversation, every interaction, every choice you make builds or breaks your influence. By investing a little time and focus each day, you create momentum. That makes persuasion effortless and natural. Morning mindset ritual. How you start your day sets the tone for your influence. Before diving into tasks, take a moment to set your intention. Decide to approach people with respect and curiosity. Visualize success. Imagine yourself communicating clearly and confidently. Affirm your values. Remind yourself that your influence is built on integrity and empathy. This mental prep primes your brain to stay focused and grounded. Daily listening. Practice listening is the foundation of influence. Every day, practice truly listening more than you speak. When in conversation, focus fully on the other person. Notice their words, tone, and body language. Resist the urge to interrupt or plan your response while they speak. This habit deepens your understanding and builds trust. Expand your emotional vocabulary. Being able to identify and name emotions in yourself and others is a game changer. Each day, tune into the feelings around you. How do you feel at different moments? What emotions do you notice in friends, colleagues, or family? Try journaling a few emotional observations. A rich emotional vocabulary helps you connect and respond with greater sensitivity. Practice asking and offering. Persuasion thrives on give and take. Make it a daily goal to ask for what you want clearly and respectfully. Offer help, insight, or value without expectation. These small acts build your confidence and reinforce reciprocal relationships. Refine your storytelling. Stories move people more than facts alone. Spend time each day crafting or sharing brief stories that highlight your ideas or values. Share personal experiences. Use metaphors or analogies. Tailor stories to your audience's interests. The more you practice, the more natural storytelling becomes. Monitor your nonverbal signals. Your body language speaks even when you don't. Each day, become aware of your posture. Are you open and confident or closed off? Your eye contact. Do you engage or avoid? Your facial expressions. Do they match your words? Nonverbal consistency strengthens your message and builds trust. Learn from every interaction. After conversations or meetings, take a moment to reflect. What went well? What could be improved? Did you notice any objections or resistance? How did you respond emotionally and verbally? This reflection sharpens your skills and awareness. Read and study persuasion regularly. Persuasion is a deep field with constant new insights. Commit to daily learning. Read books, articles, or listen to podcasts on communication and influence. Watch speeches or interviews by master persuaders. Take notes on techniques or ideas that resonate. Continuous study keeps your skills fresh and evolving. Build your network. Gradually, influence grows exponentially when you connect with more people. Each day, aim to reach out to someone new or reconnect with an existing contact. Offer genuine compliments or support. Participate in group discussions or communities. Your network is your platform for influence. Stay patient and persistent. Remember, influence builds over time. Don't get discouraged by setbacks or slow progress. Daily commitment and steady growth are the keys to lasting persuasion mastery. Action Plan. 10-Day Persuasion Bootcamp. Welcome to your 10-Day Persuasion Bootcamp, a powerful, practical program designed to help you develop your influence step by step. Each day focuses on a core skill or mindset from the book, with clear actions and reflections to guide you. Commit fully for these 10 days and watch your persuasive power grow. Day 1. Master the mindset of influence. Goal. Set your foundation with the right mindset. Action. Write down your top 3 reasons for wanting to improve your persuasion skills. Reflect. How will mastering persuasion improve your life and relationships? Exercise. Practice a daily affirmation like, I influence with clarity, confidence, and respect. Repeat it morning and night. Day 2. Sharpen your listening skills. Goal. Build deeper connection through active listening. Action. In every conversation today, Practice listening fully. Focus on the other person without interrupting or planning your response. Reflect. After each conversation, know what you learned and how it felt to listen actively. Day 3. Craft. Clear and compelling messages goal. Communicate your ideas with clarity and impact. Action. Write a short message, email, text, or verbal, explaining a simple idea or request clearly and confidently. Reflect. Did you include a clear call to action? Could it be simplified further? Day 4. Build rapport quickly goal. Create connection. Early in any interaction. Action. Use open body language, smile genuinely, and ask a sincere question about the other person's interests or feelings. Reflect. How did this affect the tone of the conversation? Did it open doors? Day 5. Use emotional language goal. Speak to the heart, not just the mind. Action. Identify 3 emotions that relate to your message today. Incorporate language that taps into those feelings: hope, excitement, relief, etc. Reflect. Did using emotional language change the listener's response? Day 6. Practice the art of asking goal. Make clear, confident requests that invite yes. Action. Identify one small, specific ask you can make today, whether at work, home, or socially. Use confident, respectful language. Reflect. How did the other person respond? What did you learn? Day 7. Handle objections gracefully goal. Respond to resistance with empathy and clarity. Action. Anticipate one possible objection related to your ask. Prepare a felt, found response and practice delivering it calmly. Reflect. If an objection came up, how did your response affect the conversation? Day 8. Leverage digital. Persuasion goal. Adapt persuasion skills to online communication. Action. Craft a clear, engaging email or social media message with a strong subject line, value upfront, and a clear call to action. Reflect. Track responses and note what worked or could improve. Day 9. Reflect on ethics and integrity goal. Ensure your influence honors trust and respect. Action. Review your communication from the past week. Identify any moments where you could strengthen honesty or respect. Commit to one ethical improvement. Reflect. How does ethical persuasion change the way you approach influence? Day 10. Build your influence routine goal. Create daily habits for ongoing persuasion mastery. Action. Design a simple daily ritual combining listening, asking, reflection, and learning. For example, 5 minutes journaling plus 1 focused conversation. Reflect. How will this routine support your growth? Set a reminder to start tomorrow. Bonus. Tips for your bootcamp success: stay present. Focus fully on each exercise without multitasking. Be patient. Growth takes time. Celebrate small wins. Journal daily. Write short notes on your experiences and lessons. Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends or colleagues for honest input. Practice self-compassion. Influence is a skill, not a test. Conclusion: this 10-day persuasion bootcamp is your launchpad to lasting mastery. By focusing on one skill each day, you build confidence, clarity, and connection, step by step. Return to this plan anytime you want to refresh your skills or accelerate your growth. Your journey to getting anything you want from anyone begins now. Take action, stay consistent, and watch your influence transform your life.